Welcome. One of the 4 basic meditation postures is one that you might not have realized you've probably been doing for a while if you have been practicing yoga, and that's standing meditation. That's because mountain pose, Tadasana, is one that we return to often between our rounds of Surya or Chandra Namaskar. So it should feel relatively familiar, except of course the idea of holding that posture, growing in that posture, and staying in that posture for a period of time. So let's give it a try together today. You can choose to do standing practice integrated into your asana practice. You can do it by itself. You can do it in the morning. You can do it at night. You can do it on your lunch break. So you don't need any special equipment. Just make sure that you're ready to give yourself the time to check in with the breath, and it can be as brief as a few rounds or several minutes. So finding a comfortable stance, making sure that your feet feel comfortable enough that you can stand for a bit. And just before we do anything else, see if you can check what your natural posture happens to be. Now, usually when I say the word posture, we automatically readjust. So if you did that, take a deep breath, exhale, release, and just notice where your posture is to begin. Notice if your knees tend to be locked or if they tend to have a significant bend. Notice if your weight naturally rocks back towards your heels or forward towards your metatarsals, the front of your feet. Notice if you tend to roll the weight a little inward toward the insteps of the feet or out toward the outer edges. Just checking in to notice what happens in your posture if you don't do anything to it. Noticing the curve of the upper back, whether your shoulders hunch over a little bit, or if it feels relatively flat, or if it's a concave curve, jutting the chest open, just noticing as you first stand here, what is here. And if your eyes are open, just noticing what has been in your field of vision. When you are introspective, what happens to your vision? If you closed your eyes automatically, noticing that too. And now let's bring some intention to our posture. So making sure that the feet are about hip width apart and feeling our feet on the ground, maybe imagining a cat's paw when you press into its metatarsals and the toes splay. Not necessarily doing that, but really feeling yourself really like you're reverse peeling your feet into the ground. So rolling them through from the heels, instep, out at outer edges, metatarsals, toes, onto the ground. Take a deep breath in as you imagine lifting the insteps, soles of your feet, arches of your feet. As you exhale, imagine your attention melting over the tops of your feet to the outer edges of your feet. See if you can sense all 10 toes on the ground. Rock a little bit forward, rest a little bit back, until it feels as though the weight is distributed evenly between your metatarsals and your heels. Feel the weight of the body rocking slightly towards the right and the left, rolling gently across the feet until it feels as though the weight is evenly balanced between the arches, the insteps of the feet, and the outer edges. Take a deep breath in, rolling the breath up through the soles of the feet, tops of the feet. Exhaling, feeling your breath root back into the earth. And now draw the attention up through the ankles. Sensing if you can feel the shins and the calf muscles. Feeling if they feel tense or relaxed. and allowing the attention to rest for a moment at the knees. Now, perhaps inviting a slight bend, softening in the knees if they're locked. Releasing that. And if you did go from locked knees to slightly bent knees, noticing what that does to the weight distribution. You might catch what that does to the pelvis. And just finding what feels like the natural bend in your knee. Allowing the attention now to rise up over the quads, around to the hamstrings. Taking the attention up towards the glutes, noticing if your glutes feel tight or relaxed. Allowing the attention to rise to the hips, and then envisioning the pelvic bowl. We use this word bowl, which makes it easy to imagine like a bowl of cereal. And you think about that bowl of cereal, do you envision the milk pouring, spilling forward or spilling back towards yourself? Envision your pelvic bowl and notice if that milk would be balanced, even. Allowing the angle of the knees and the angle of the pelvis to be in conversation with each other. Noticing if, with the attention in the pelvis, your stance, the width of your feet, feels too narrow or too wide. Maybe making an adjustment if need be. Maybe just spreading the weight again deep through the feet. Even, balanced, checking in again, connecting everything from the soles of the feet, each of the four sides of the feet, up through the ankles, calves, shins, knees, through the quads, hamstrings, glutes, back to the hips, and now drawing the attention towards the belly. Noticing the lower belly, middle range of the belly between the bottom of the pelvic bowl and the navel, noticing if it feels tight, feeling the abdominals above the navel up to the solar plexus, noticing if those muscles feel tight. Let's take a deep breath in and invite a softening in the belly. Do that twice more. Inhale, allow it to expand. Exhale, soften. And one more time. Inhale, allowing the belly to expand. Exhale, soften and release. And pull the attention back through the spine to the lower back. And just noticing the relationship between the front of the body and the back of the body. Noticing, perhaps placing a hand on the belly and the lower back and feeling again the top this time of that pelvic bowl. Does the ridge of that pelvic bowl seem as though it's pouring forward or spilling back? Seeing if you can find that neutral place for your body, which may look very different than a neutral place on another person's body. You find yours by, again, finding that connection between the tilt of your pelvis, the softness of the knees, and the arrival of the shoulders. So we'll take the attention up through the back body, middle back, and the front body, rib cage, allowing our attention to pause for a moment here. Noticing if the front of the rib cage feels open, like a door or a window. Maybe drawing the navel in slightly and closing that gate. Feeling the back of the rib cage as the lungs expand. See if you can sense the back of the ribs expanding and giving way. See if you can sense the side of your rib cage expanding, the muscles in between each of the bones of the ribs. Inviting the knees to soften if they've tightened. releasing the toes if they've scrunched up. And now bringing the attention to the sternum, the clavicles, the tops of the shoulders. Sense in space the shoulders above the hips, above the knees, above the heels and ankles. Feel your body in alignment, and now noticing again the weight distribution. Does it feel as though the weight is rocking forward? Maybe pulling back? Does it feel as though the weight has collapsed the arches of the feet, the insteps? Or have you rocked it to the outer edges, maybe causing a bit of tweak in the knees? Sensing the evenness, expanding through the soles of the feet, creating a strong, supportive base. Noticing any gentle swaying in the body, maybe forward and back, or vacillating side to side, maybe even a sort of spirally motion, just noticing. And we'll bring the attention now back up to the back of the neck, finding again that space between each of the vertebrae. Bring the attention to the throat, feeling a sense of expansiveness here, opening in the throat. The chin is roughly parallel to the ground. Allow the attention to rise to the ears, feeling the back of the head and the ears even. Taking the attention around the back of the head, up to the crown of the head. Melting the attention over the brow. Perhaps closing the eyes if you haven't yet done so. Allowing the eyelids to be heavy. Resting the attention down the cheeks, the lips, your tongue. See if you can create a little space in the mouth. And if you've closed your eyes, noticing how that affects your balance. Perhaps noticing any movement in the body. Micro movements that keep you upright. And with the eyes closed or slightly open, if balance is particularly challenging today, keeping the gaze low. Let's take a few rounds of breath together. Drop the attention down to the soles of the feet. And as you inhale, envision taking that full journey up the body, from the soles of the feet through the ankles, lower leg, upper leg, pelvic bowl, lower torso, upper torso, neck, and through the crown of the head. Exhale it all back down, pulling the energy down from the crown, reversing the journey all the way back down to the soles of the feet. Twice more in that way. Inhaling, drawing your energy up from the soles of the feet, all the way up to the top. Exhaling, pulling the energy down from the crown, through the body, all the way back down to the soles of the feet. And breathing in your own time. A few more rounds. Take that journey on your own. And as you breathe, noticing any micro movements or swaying of the body. And without rushing it forward, at the bottom of your next exhale, just let the breath do its thing. And for the last time, we'll take the attention back down to the soles of the feet and rebuild our posture from the base on up. Sensing your weight, evenly distributed across your feet, front, back, side, side. Softening in the knees and drawing the attention up the legs. Noticing the tilt of the pelvis. Softening in the belly. Softening in the rib cage. Opening and expanding between the vertebra, in the chest, at the throat. Noticing the shoulders melting, the muscles of the shoulders to release as they align directly above the hips, directly above the heels. Growing a little taller through the neck, the back of the neck, lengthening through the crown of the head. And perhaps bringing the palms together. And if the eyes are closed, let's begin with the gaze down as you flutter the eyes open. Allowing your peripheral vision to begin to draw in that which is immediately around you. And ever so slowly taking your time to take in the rest of the room and maybe finding your way back to the screen. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. My name is Selena Brown of Pramana Wellness, teacher owner at The Connective. Be well.